Hello and welcome to Greek 1. This is Workbook 6. You want to have your workbook with you if you have one. If you don't have a workbook, maybe you can glean something out of these videos. We'll at least show you how to do the parsing and you can learn some things. But obviously the best thing is if you have a workbook. I'm not going to be going through all the entire workbook in its entirety. I'm just going to be going through a handful for each exercise, and that's about it. So really my goal is just to walk through a few and hopefully get you started. Okay, this is parsing. The Mounts has a little chart like this, and yours will probably look a little different, obviously because mine's digital. But you should still have the question, right? The number you're doing. Case number 1 is anthropon. And then you'll have case number, gender, lexical form, and inflected meaning. Okay, we're going to start with lexical form first. I think that's the best place to start. Lexical form is the form of the word that you memorized from your vocab. Lexical form means this is how it's written in the dictionary. The dictionary is not going to list out the word with every case ending that's available. There's just too many. It's only going to have the nominative masculine singular. Of course, if the word is feminine, then it's going to have the feminine, but it's going to have the nominative singular of that word. So the first thing you're going to write down is the nominative singular of anthropon, which if you've already studied your vocab, switching to Greek here, it is anthropos. Anthropos is the lexical form for anthropon. That's the one you learn. I can't type the accents quickly enough, so I'm just going to skip that. Then you're going to, having already practiced and you know your cases a little bit, you're going to tell me if this is the nominative or accusative. And so actually we should probably just work backwards and do gender first. You should know anthropos is a masculine. And then once you know that it's masculine in your head, you can go through that chart and you look on the left-hand side and you ask yourself, okay, what's this omicron ni ending? And of course, that's the accusative singular. That's the only one that has the omicron ni, accusative singular. And so now you have parsed it. Anthropon is accusative singular masculine of anthropos. And its inflected meaning, because it's singular, is man. And that's it. All right, let's do Vasilias, number 4. So you're going to type in, or I guess you're writing it out. Vasilia. Vasilia is the lexical form. And if you want to, you could add the article, which, we haven't learned articles yet, so never mind, don't do that. But you know that that's going to be a feminine. And so you think yourself on the feminine side of these, what is it? And Vasilias is accusative plural. So plural is more than one, so you can go to inflected meaning. It's like, okay, Vasilia means kingdom, you know that. And it's a plural, so it's going to be kingdoms. There we go. Here's a really easy one. 7 is logos, and the lexical form is logos. You should know that this is a masculine word. And the case is, it is the accusative plural. And so this is going to be words. And that's it. You're going to fill out the rest of these together. Sometimes you'll have 2 options. So in this case, you've got to. And hopefully you can recognize it, although I'll give you a break if you haven't figured this one out yet. But that's actually the article, and that's just o. And they're putting 2x here because there's two options. It's not just one. This can either be, let's do gender first. This can either be, the gender is going to be neuter, no matter what. It's going to be neuter. But the case could be one of two options. It could be the nominative, or it can be the accusative singular. So that's what the 2x means, is there's two options. This can either be the nominative singular neuter, or it could be the accusative singular neuter. And Mounts wants you to type in the word the. I think that's a bad habit where you can just write article. I think that's better because the article a lot of times is not a the in English. So that's a really bad habit to get into. All right, let's do a couple of these warm-ups. Alpha is, first you're going to read it out loud. You always want to read out loud as much as possible. Alpha says, y ora ergete. Y ora ergete. This vocabulary word you have not had yet in your vocab. So that's why they give you in parentheses the meaning of it. So if it doesn't have, if it's not in, if there's a word that does not have parentheses after it, it means you've already learned it in your vocab, or you should have. So you should be able to look in your vocab list and this word will be on it. This one will not be on it. So that's why Mounts gives it to you, because there's no way you're going to know. So ergete means he, she, or it comes. Because in Greek there's gender, this could be either masculine, feminine, or neuter. You won't know. Context will tell you. So you have to look at that first word. And just by looking at the article, oh yeah, we have done articles. I don't know why I said we hadn't. Okay. Just by looking at the article, you should know that E is feminine. So this is going to be a feminine word, ora. And ora means hour in Greek. So when you translate this, you would, in your mind, you can just write up here, right above ora, you would write nominative, feminine, singular. Sorry, it'd be nominative, singular, feminine. And it means ora. And because it's a nominative, it's a subject of the sentence. So it would come first. You would say, the hour comes. The hour comes. Now, you could also, if you want to say is coming, but technically it's the hour comes. All right, let's do vita. Vita says agaposi, which you have not had yet. So we put it in parentheses. They love. Agaposi de ton teon. We're not going to worry about agaposi because it tells you they love. We don't know what the subject is yet. And we have de. If you remember from your vocab, de is a postpositive. That's always translated first. So it usually means but. It could mean and, but we're going to put but first. And then ton theon. If you remember your vocab, theos is God, and it's a masculine. And so you look at this ending and you say, okay, this is in the masculine, the omekrani is accusative singular. So this is God, but it is not the subject of the sentence. It is the direct object. So we know this doesn't come first. What is the subject? There's no other words here. The verb includes a subject. It is they. So when we don't have a subject like this, the verb will supply the subject. It just inside of it is a they. So the subject is they, and the verb is love. But they love, and then God is the direct object. I'm assuming it's capital G. But it could be potentially, and you can maybe say or God if it's talking about a pagan god. All right, let's do one more warm up. Gamma, we read it first. Get that highlight off there. Gamma, esosen, which means he, she, or it saved. Avtos alus. All right. So we're going to take avtos and we're going to parse that first. And we're going to look at that ending. We know that avtos could be any gender. It could be masculine, feminine, or neuter. So that doesn't help us a lot. But as we've studied the endings, this can only be one ending. This is going to be a masculine singular. It's a nominative masculine singular. So we're going to know that this is the subject and it's masculine. So avtos is the subject and it's going to be he. Next comes the verb, which is saved. So even though esosen could be he, she, or it saved, it could be any gender, it could be attached to any gender, we know it's not she and we know it's not it because the subject, the nominative, is a masculine. So these are no longer an option. It is going to be he. So it's he saved. And now what does alus mean? Well, alus means another. And so now we're looking at the case ending and we look at this and now you might get confused, but this is an accusative. Accusative plural, if you think about your chart. So we go down here and we're going to do he saved others, plural. And that's it. So you're parsing up top. So if I were to do a loose, I'd put that it's an accusative plural up here. And in this case, it's going to be the accusative masculine plural. I'd put that up there, and then you translate it. So you know what's a subject, you know it's a direct object, you know, and you can smooth it out a little bit. He saved others. That is good. All right. Let's go down to translation. Let's do a couple of these. The translation is just a little harder. So the warm-ups are supposed to be easy. And just to make this interesting, let's start at the bottom and do the hardest one here. All right. First, we're going to read number 10. Genin y Vasilia su u stisetai. Stisetai. I didn't recognize that for a second. Genin y Vasilia su u stisetai. All right. Ge is not declinable, so this is just the word and. Nin is now. And now we got our first noun, y Vasilia. Y Vasilia is from kingdom, and it's singular, and it's nominative. So this is going to be the subject of the sentence. So you can write up there the nominative, and you can assume it's a subject. And now the kingdom. Su means your. So it's not the kingdom. I go back and erase that and do your kingdom. U stisete. We haven't had stisete yet. And it says will continue. Will continue. You can also translate this will not stand, but we haven't gotten to stisete yet. So, and now your kingdom will not stand or continue. There you go. All right. I do not know what I just did. Here we go. All right, let's do additional, and I'm gonna do one of the harder ones with you. Let's do 20. All right, first thing we do is read. Que avti iran tas phonas avton. Que avti iran tas phonas avton. All right. Que, again, it's not declinable. That's just the conjunction and. And so we now have our first noun, avti. We look at that ending, and hopefully you recognize that is a nominative plural masculine. And so this is he, but because it's plural, it's they. All right? And because it's the nominative, it's probably going to be the subject. So we're going to say they. We haven't learned Iran yet, so he gives it to us. They lift it up. Since this is a subject, the verb follows the subject, and so it is they lifted up. They is inside the subject already. It's a third person plural. We haven't gotten to aorist tense, but this is a past tense, and so the they is included in here, and avti just tells us exactly who they are. In this case, they. They lift it up. And then we have our next noun, which is tas phonas. Tas is the article that goes with this phonas. And you've already had phonas in your vocabulary. It is phoni, which means sound. It is a feminine. And so you think of the options here, and tas phonas is going to be accusative. It's accusative singular. And because it's accusative, it is the direct object. So the direct object goes after the verb. It is the thing being directly affected. So it is the thing being lifted up. So they lifted up voices plural because tas is plural feminine. It's accusative plural feminine. All right. And the last word is avton. We have not learned avton yet. It means there. So it's voices there, or in English, we put there first. We lift, and they lifted up their, what is my deal here? Voices. And they lifted up their voices. And that's it. That's all you're doing for these. So again, I'm not trying to do all these for you. I just wanted to get you started. Hopefully this is making sense. And again, there on the website, we have a way of you downloading the answer sheet. So once you're done with this, you can double check with that answer sheet if you ever people print it out and send it in to you. Obviously, this would do you absolutely no good if you had the answer sheet right next to you before you did this. What you want to do is do as much as you can first. It's okay if you make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. It's a learning process. You could do it all first, and then you have the answer sheet to go back and check your work. And that's about it. All right, guys, until next time, Godspeed.